You guys have been asking for it. Here it is. 5 reasons why your arms won't grow. Cue the intro. What's going on, guys? Gabriel Sey, aka The Truth, and although we're still out here in New Milton, you guys have been asking for it, so let's go. So firstly, just wanted to say a quick thanks to Squarespace for supporting this video. Now, before I get into all of these tips, there's always one smart ass in the comments that says, oh yeah, but if food is... Yes. So here's a preliminary tip. If you don't eat enough, and if you don't train hard enough, and if you don't hydrate, sleep, and all those other good things that contribute to a better physique, these tips are not going to help you. So get that in check, and then let's continue with the video. Tip number 1, you need to understand how your arm is made up. You need to understand, okay, let's just talk about the upper arm, because everyone wants the big biceps and triceps, right? So let's start with the triceps. Now, when I started training, I had this completely wrong. For the longest time, I had this completely wrong. I was thinking, oh yeah, so well that's the long head, and that's the one that gives you the thickness. That's the main one. Completely wrong. The horseshoe is nice, but that's probably the easiest one to get. Because then I started realizing, okay, so when I do that, yeah, I've got the nice shape there, but when I do that, I wasn't having that underhang, if you get what I mean. And that is the long head right there. So you've got the long head there, then you've got the lateral head there, and then you've got another little one that sits right there. Those two are probably the easiest ones to get, to grow. That one is one of the hardest ones to grow. Or harder to grow. So in essence, you need to work all of them to get that really thick, dense look. So then we look at the biceps. The biceps are split into 2. So if you look at the triceps, 3, so you got 3 heads. Then biceps, you got 2 heads. You got the long head and the short head. I used to do loads of stuff to hit the short head, and I thought that was what would give me the growth in my arms. Long head gives you the peak, and then the other one in around the biceps kind of sits in the middle is the brachialis. Imagine you had a little balloon, because it's not a massive muscle, but it sits right in between the biceps and triceps. If you were to have a balloon that you could inflate, and it would just push everything out. So it used to be known as bro science, but it's not. It's actually there, and if you target it, you get a nice little, it kind of just fills out the arm even more. So when you're looking at targeting each area, when you're targeting the short head, you want, general rule of thumb is you want your arms in front of you. So if you're doing the preacher curl, spider curl, so where your chest is supported, and then stuff like the cable where you're on the knees and stuff like that. And then for the long head, you want stuff where your arms are either by your side or behind you. So that's the incline. So you're lying back on a 45-degree bench and you're doing the incline curl. Oh, for the brachialis, stuff what was it? The overhand grip pull-ups, hammer curls, that type of stuff. People say cross-body hammer curls, but I've done both, and I haven't really seen a dramatic difference in doing one versus the other. Some people might have a different story, but for me, the standard hammer works just as well as the cross-body hammer. And then for the triceps, the general rule of thumb that I've always gone by is the overhead movements will target the main long head, and then the press down movements will target that horseshoe, because that's what I used to do all the time. I never really did any above the head stuff when I was younger. And then the medial one there is kind of the underhand grip, push down type stuff. Now, actually thinking back, all I used to do was that. I said it, it just made me realize that I actually never did any overhead stuff. So that's why I had a really good horseshoe, but there was, my arm just looked from the side, it just looked. It looked all right, but it wasn't it wasn't filled out. But anyway, that takes us on to point number 2, and that is creating a plan that targets everything. It's really easy to go into the gym and just pick the stuff that you like, because obviously the stuff that you like is the stuff that you want to do. But to actually have a structure, you could do it as simply as this. Okay, so I'm going to have one exercise that's going to target here, the long head. I'm going to have one exercise that targets the short head. Then I'm going to have one exercise that targets the medial, then the long, and then the lateral. So then you're working around the muscle like that. So to actually write down exercises for each one, and then just pick one and do that. That's probably the simplest way. That's probably the way that I would do it. And then if you really wanted to get a really intense workout, then do the same thing, but think how you can have maybe a couple compounds that will target all of it, and then a couple isolations that will isolate each head, if that makes sense. Tip number 3, full range of motion. Now, Full range of motion is one that for triceps it's quite easy. You know, you come all the way up, you go all the way down. Control for triceps is the main thing. People do this where they rock it forwards. So then all that's happening is you're doing that. So you're engaging the lats and then pushing down. We are not training the lats. It's very strict. Keep it tight and then push down. Wherever it is, even if it's the skull crushers. I used to do this thing because it's so easy to just watch like bodybuilders just do shit and then you think that's it. Like, so I was rocking like this and then rocking like just control it. Just control it, lighten the weight and just control it. With triceps, it's mainly about control and making sure that your lats don't come into play. Now, biceps, the ego one. When you're doing bicep curls, it's all about contracting the muscle, not seeing how much weight you can shift because Tom, Dick and Harry did so and so. Let me show you from the side. So there. So my front delts are dominant enough anyway, and this is partially because I used to do bicep curls stupidly and I used to do bench stupidly, so a lot of my front delts took a lot of the brunt of things. But from a stretch position, you're coming up and then there. Don't need to do that. That has no bearing on your bicep whatsoever. So if you're doing barbell curls and you're doing this, are you Timon? Where's Pumbaa? It's silly. All you're doing is working the shoulders. And I see so many people, they don't even extend their arm. They're just doing this. It might look good in the mirror, but it's not actually doing anything for the biceps. So it's a stretch all the way down. Ben Mudge, when I trained with him, he was like, you know, stretch, squeeze the tricep a little bit so that you know you've got full extension of the bicep. And then come up, squeeze, and really try and twist that hand in. Because look at that. So from there to there, there to there. Peak contraction. Because people think that full range of motion means that you have to move it as far as possible for everything, but you have to move it as far as possible for that specific muscle. Does that make sense? Tip number 4, do them first. I don't do them first because I don't want my arms to get any bigger or have a set day. If you're like, don't go in the gym and do chest and arms. Do arms and chest. Does that make sense? Don't leave it till last because you won't have the same amount of energy and the same amount of what's the word? Go with that word. You know what I mean? To actually get it done. Tip number 5, increase the frequency. As human beings, we are able to train each body part about twice a week. So that's where the whole push-pull legs thing came from. So you can train everything at least twice a week. But that doesn't mean that you go ham 100%, you know, 90% of your 1 rep max and then you're just hitting it hard all the time. No, you have one day where you might go heavy. You might have a lot of, you know, like 5x5, very intense kind of thing. Then you have another day where you might go 50% and you're just doing a very like slow contraction work and that kind of stuff. So you mix it up a little bit. That's it. 5 tips for why your arms won't grow, but now you know them, so now your arms will grow. So another quick thank you to Squarespace for supporting this video. If you guys don't know who Squarespace are, they are an online website builder. So if you guys aren't clued up with the whole coding and all that kind of stuff, it is so easy. I built GabrielSey.com, my own website, in literally 2 days. Everything's drag and drop, so easy to navigate, so easy to get through, and you can build your whole website. So if you guys want to try it out, head over to squarespace.com/Gabriel Sey and get 10% off. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share this video with the world, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Whipping excursion. I gotta pick up that person in the trap. Dripping that working. You're not a gangster, you're just an internet version.